A very good morning to everyone. A few general instructions before we begin the webinar. Participants can post their questions in the Q&A, that is, the question and answer box. Due to time constraints, few questions would be addressed after the speaker's talk. Proper decorum must be maintained by all participants. The link for the e-certificate cum feedback form will be sent to you on your registered email ID by today evening 7 p.m. IST. It is mandatory for all the participants to fill the form in order to receive the e-certificate. After filling the e-certificate cum feedback form, you will receive your e-certificates from our technical team within 8 to 10 days. The webinar recording for both the days will be put up on our college YouTube channel. The name of our channel is Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce Official. The link for the recorded webinar videos will also be shared on your registered email ID. Thank you. After a successful day 1 of our webinar, on behalf of the Department of Psychology, Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce, we would like to welcome you all to our second day of the webinar on mental health and well-being. A very warm welcome to our principal, Dr. Rishikesh Soman sir, faculty members, speakers for the day, our HOD, Dr. Alpana Vaidya ma'am, and all the participants. The central theme of our webinar is mental health and well-being. Mental health in current crisis has become a crucial and essential topic. According to WHO, mental health is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. The world today is facing a pandemic which has not only affected people physically but also emotionally and mentally. We, as mental health facilitators, have organized this webinar with the aim of reaching the masses and bringing into focus the importance of mental health and well-being. We hope you have a great time. I would now like to request our principal, Dr. Rishikesh Soman sir, to kindly address the audience and enlighten us with a few words.
Good morning and good evening, as the case may be. I welcome you all for the second day of this webinar on mental health and well-being. I congratulate the psychology department of our college, the head of the department, Dr. Alpana, and her team, our student volunteers, for organizing this two-day webinar. Yesterday was a very successful day, and I'm sure today is also going to be a very eventful and successful day. I wish all the success to the webinar. I welcome all the speakers who have really shown initiative and enthusiasm to join at a relatively very short notice, I would say. 8-10 days notice is not really a great in advance notice as such. And I'm very happy that one of our alumni, Nivedita, is kind of panelist today. It's a kind of a very proud moment for us that we have got our student who is now sharing her thoughts on this particular topic. I welcome Dr. Corina, I welcome Dr. Yus from Indonesia to be the expert, and of course Nivedita as another expert, I would say, and I'm really happy that we will have a wonderful discussion today. I welcome all the participants and I really thank you for supporting and participating in this webinar and registering in a very large number. I wish all the success to the webinar and I hand over to the anchor once again. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. We would now like to request our HOD, Dr. Alpana Vaidya ma'am, to take over and give the audience an overview of the webinar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Tehri. Respected Principal Dr. Rishikesh Soman sir, Respected Vice Principal Dr. Sunaini Parchure Madam, Registrar Gandhali Parulekar, faculty members, speakers, dear students and participants who have joined Pan India and from outside India. A very good morning and for some very good evening and warm welcome to one and all on the day 2 of the webinar on mental health and well-being organized by the Department of Psychology, Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce. I am happy to share with you that we have received an overwhelming response from India and as well as from abroad. As we all know, mental health includes our emotional, psychological, social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. It also helps to determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Mental health is very important at every stage of life, right from childhood, adolescence, and throughout adulthood. Considering the importance of mental health in human life, we have organized this webinar on mental health and well-being. Yesterday, our first speaker, Dr. Ahmed, talked about balancing wellness during the pandemic, a wellness approach. She explained how to maintain mental health in the situation of COVID-19 pandemic using wellness wheel model. Dr. Verena talked about workplace stress, and Professor Meera Shankar talked about maintaining physical, mental health, and immunity using indigenous, that is Indian approach, particularly Vedic traditions. Our first speaker for today, Nivedita, is going to talk about autism and importance of intensive behavioral intervention. I'm happy to share with you that she is our alumni and she is currently working for autistic children in Canada. It's really our pleasure to have you, Nivedita. Our second speaker, Dr. Corina, is going to speak about responsible leadership during the pandemic. And Professor Yus Nugraha is going to share about adapting with academic challenges during the pandemic, and he is going to particularly talk about his own country, Indonesia. I wish to thank all the speakers on behalf of Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce for accepting our invitation and sparing their valuable time. I am sure that the deliberations on the day 2 will help us understand mental health problems of autistic children, how to be a responsible leader, and how to deal with academic challenges, particularly during COVID-19 pandemic. As we discussed yesterday, and I would like to quote Dr. Ahmed, in her talk, she said, we need to have a solution-focused approach. The key is with us, unquote. This means that if we can inculcate and develop positive attitudes towards life, we can tackle the life challenges very easily. And I think in this particular situation, this is very much essential. To conclude, I would like to quote, positive attitude gives you power over your circumstances instead of circumstances having power over you. With these words, once again, I thank all the participants for attending the webinar in large number. So, once again, I welcome you all and over to you, Tehreem. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alpana ma'am. Without any further ado, let us begin the webinar. Our first speaker for the day is Nivedita Divgi ma'am. Nivedita Divgi is the alumni of our college who was a part of our department for her bachelor's in arts psychology, after which she pursued her MA in clinical psychology in arts psychology from Savitribai Phule, Pune University. She also holds a diploma in graphology. Other than this, she has a diploma in autism and behavioral sciences and development service worker from Fanshawe University, Canada. Throughout these years, ma'am has had a consistent academic achievement. Ma'am has also been associated with the community living at Brampton, Toronto, and Mississauga as dance therapist and at Shining Star Support Services as instructor therapist. She has also worked at Community Living London DSW as a dance instructor and also has experience of working at Salvation Army, London Children Connection, London Christian Academy, and TVCC. Apart from this, Ma'am has worked at Sundarji's Institute and volunteered at Ekalavya. Ma'am has had an academic project on compassionate fatigue and quality of life of parents of autistic and mentally challenged. Alongside, she has a natural capacity to interact with people and especially children, which also reflects on a good understanding of development and behavioral problems of children. The topic on which Ma'am will be presenting today is autism and intensive behavioral intervention. We are glad to have you among us today, Ma'am. We welcome you.
Jane, no.
A very good morning to everyone. I really want to start by thanking Symbiosis College and Alpana Vaidya ma'am. She's been my first guru of psychology, and she's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about this subject that I keep on studying and hopefully will complete a PhD soon. We have unsung heroes at home. Yes, the younger kids. Let's acknowledge that our kids have been the most patient beyond their age and intellect in these times. It is not easy for a little ones to tame their mind, to stay indoors all day and all night. The children I support who have a diagnosis of autism enjoy their routine so much, as well as other typical learners who miss seeing their teachers, friends, and therapists. They crave for an open space to run around, and we've locked them up in a room with some toys. Their world changed overnight, and most of them couldn't explain what they really felt. We owe them an apology for this change that they have to adjust to. They deserve a loud applause for being there with us today, stronger than what we could imagine in these unpredictable circumstances. Give them a tight hug, laugh at their jokes, let them make the house dirty at times, read them stories, add some sparkle in their lives. They've been forced to act more mature than their age. This too shall pass, my friend. Till then, let's enjoy our heroes at home. What can we do for our children during this pandemic? First and foremost, let's attend to ourselves as parents. We are so worried about what's happening in the world that we fail to take care of ourselves. But I want you all to remember that it's only if a mother and a father, the entire family is strong and happy, your child will be happy. The first thing I would like to say is keep your child, let your child have a flexible routine. What I mean by a flexible routine is let your child do a different activity on Monday, like arts and say his homework, and Tuesday board games and homework. The reason why I suggest a flexible routine is because tomorrow is very unpredictable. Today, I believe everyone are in lockdown. Tomorrow, maybe we'll be able to go out from 4 to 6. And hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed and my hope high that by January, your children will be back in school, enjoying with them friends. So let our children know that, yes, we have to be flexible and that's a part of life. Change is the constant. Playtime. I know children love playtime. Saying no to playtime or reducing their hours of playtime is like telling an athlete not to work out or telling my grandparents don't watch Arnab Goswami. That's kind of impossible. Like that, children need their playtime. Let them help you in your home chores. Let them be, even if it is a child who is 3-year-old and 4-year-old, let them just do a bit. Even if it's putting their clothes in their laundry or washing their own dishes. What happens when they do this is they learn dignity of labor, which is not taught in books or in school mostly. They also learn to be humble, and you'll make your child much more stronger. Give your child an explanation. As parents, we usually try to protect our child and filter a lot of things that happen in our day-to-day life. Tell them the reality. We don't consider them as matured, but they are way more matured than we think we are. So let them give them an explanation, be honest about them, give them a reality check of the situation. Be a model for your child. I remember when I was a child, I would copy my mom, wear the lipstick exactly like how she would wear, or dress up exactly how she would. Children are amazing in imitation. So remember, if maybe you are not watching yourself, your child is definitely watching you. Positive self-talk, which is very important for the parent as well as the child. For example, if the child feels he's not good in maths, make your child say, I am good in maths. I am going to do well. I'm going to do very well, or whatever goals the child has, let them talk it out as if it's happened. These positive self-talks really help. You can also have small boards put up in the room for positive talks. So the child sees that when he's up and sees that when he's going to bed. Exercises. Yes, you can do any kind of exercise with your child. There is no particular age for a child to learn yoga or breathing. Even if a child is 3-year-old or 4-year-old, I'm sure they can do jumping jacks or running around and hopscotch. Please keep playing with them. And music. Music and dance is like a medicine to all problems. It helps every person be calm. And doing exercise and music together will also give you some time to be with your children. Appreciate them. Maybe because there's so much on our plate right now, we may fail to appreciate our child for being with us at this moment, for giving us so much of joy. Please appreciate them, tell them how much you love them, and that will really work. Schools were built so children could learn the most socially desirable behavior and avoid undesirable behavior that is not accepted in the society, and that you can't really learn at home. The new normal is where children are studying online. So the responsibility of shaping a child's behavior suddenly has come to the parents' shoulders, where earlier it was kind of shared by the peers or by the teachers. These are the 4 functions of behavior. If you find your child behaving in an undesirable manner, these are the 4 reasons why a child will be doing so. For attention, for a tangible item like a phone, to escape, or sensory. For giving an example of this pandemic, a child is losing a lot of attention. Attention from their teachers, attention from their best friends, attention from the other peers. Tangible items, they're missing parks, they're missing playing in the sandbox, they're missing Play-Doh, art, and all of that. Escape. They really want to escape and go somewhere and run or play hopscotch or kabaddi or one of these games, but they're stuck at home. And sensory. Sometimes a child may fail to communicate that they're feeling too hot or cold, or that they have a pain in their tummy, or their head is hurting. It's very hard for them at that age to express what really is going on. Behavior is nothing but communication. And I repeat, behavior is nothing but communication. So if you see your child behaving in an undesirable manner, which means falling on the floor and crying, hitting themselves, throwing tantrums, these are the 4 reasons why. So how do we treat this, especially during the pandemic when I said shaping the behavior of a child or on the shoulders of parents? The mantra is ABC: antecedent, behavior, and consequences. We'll be working with the consequences, but it's very important that we understand the other terms as well. Setting events is the event that the situation is taking place in. Antecedent is what happens before the behavior. Behavior is what the child really does, and consequences is what happened before. Let me give you an example. You woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you finished all your chores. You are all set at 9 a.m. to give a beautiful presentation that you prepared to your boss. And you tell your child, antecedent, what happened before the behavior. Antecedent, you tell your child, darling, can you please sit on the couch when I'm giving my presentation? The behavior to the child says, no, mama, I really want some attention, or really want to eat, or something of that sort. Consequences. What did you do? Did you shout at your child saying, go in the room, I have a presentation? Gave your child a timeout. So it is the consequences that will make a person behave in the same manner or no. With consequences, we go to reinforcements. Reinforcements will help a child to do the behavior again and again. Why are reinforcements important? Tomorrow, if I tell you that work, but I'm sorry, you guys are not getting your pay. How many of you are actually ready to work again? Your reinforcements are our paychecks. Or for me, my teacher saying, wow, I did a good job, so I'll study more hard. So these reinforcements are very important, and they determine whether a behavior will occur again or no. The difference between positive and negative reinforcements. Reinforcements only and only will increase a behavior. But there's a difference between positive and negative. Positive reinforcements are adding something. Like you give a high five, or tell your child, wow, good job, buddy, you got it. Or give them a chocolate or an iPad time, so that the child's behavior will increase. But when we talk about negative reinforcements, we are taking away things from them so that their behavior increases. Example, you can tell your child, darling, you're studying so much, so I will do the dishes. So you're taking the dishes, you're taking away the job of dishes so that they study more. Before we try and shape our child's behavior, it is important that we know what our child likes so that we can reinforce them. The best reinforcements are verbal praises, like saying, wow, good job, you got it, giving them a hug, tickling them, and praising them. But we also use materials at times, especially for the children who have autism and I work with them. Multiple choice reinforcement is when you let the child decide whatever the child likes and choose that as a reinforcement. The other is a forced choice, where you ask the child, what do you want? Do you want a watch or do you want a phone? And if the child says phone, you know that it's the phone that is going to be used as a reinforcer. How do we shape behavior? Ignore the undesirable behavior, and I mean it. Ignore the undesirable behavior. What happens when you ignore the desirable behavior is that the child knows that he's not going to get what he wants if he throws tantrums, if he cries. That's not working. He's not getting attention. He's not getting what he wants. Ignore the child with the age. So if the child is, say, 4-year-old, you will be ignoring the child for 4 minutes. If your child is 5-year-old, you ignore the child for 5 minutes, and so on. Even if your child is screaming, mama, 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 or your child is screaming, I want a toy, I want a toy, I want a toy. Ignore. Believe me, it works. It is scientifically peer-reviewed. DRO, which is differential reinforcement of other behaviors. In this, we usually just reinforce the behavior that we like. For example, you see your child waking up in the morning and he makes a coffee for you. You say, wow, good job. Thank you so much. Do you want an iPad time? Or if he does anything that is desirable and you want the behavior to increase, you reinforce the child. Try to reinforce the child with verbal prompts more, because it is very easy to fade off compared to an iPad. DRA is differential reinforcement of alternate behavior. Giving you an example. A child is crying for his toy. The child stops crying. You say, good job, buddy, for not crying. What do you want? Do you want iPad or no? And if when the second year child communicates, I want an iPad, or my stomach is hurting, you reinforce them with it so that they realize that these tantrums are not doing me any good. I know parents, it's very hard to ignore your child, because the first instinct of mothers I have seen is they go to see what happens, or they give them a toy so that their child is quiet and they are very busy. Having said that, learning behavior is easy. Unlearning behavior is very hard. May be hard, can be changed, yes. But let's just teach them the right desirable way. As an instructor therapist, I have to deal with treating challenging behaviors that I just spoke about and intensive behavioral intervention. Let me tell you a bit about autism. The DSM-5 diagnostic criteria has specifically mentioned really well an umbrella of what autism really looks like. But let me just talk about it briefly. When you talk about so autism is to do with deficits in communication, social interaction, and they have a lot of restricted and repetitive behavior. When I say they have deficits in social interaction, they fail to have a back and forth conversation. I'll say hi, they will fail to say hi or have this back and forth conversation with me. They lack eye contact. They are not too happy with sharing their toys or doing shared play. And they do have a lot of restricted and repetitive behavior, which is coming back and forth, walking on their toes, holding something in their hand and spinning. That really helps for stimulation. There are 3 levels of autism. The first level is when a child requires support, but not that much. For these children, sometimes the diagnosis is not even done because they hardly need any support. It's just a child who may be being shy, not liking to interact. Level 2 is requiring substantial support, where social interactions are limited. There's frequent of restricted and repetitive behavior. The third is requiring a lot of support, where they fail to have non-verbal and verbal cues or communication skills. As an instructor therapist, I also teach children sign language. Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. Thank you. We also use pecks. So this is a peck where we teach a child saying, I want biscuit, or I want apple, or I want to play with bricks. We use this handy because they're unable to talk, and this makes it very easy for us to understand what a child needs, and also that they have choices. How do we call them? Do we call them an autistic child or a child with autism? I learned this after I came to Canada. We were trained to say a child with autism. The reason being, we are not labeling the child. It's like calling me depressed Nivita or diabetic Nivita. I would prefer being called Nivita as a person who has diabetes or who is in depression. So the right way to address or call them is a child with autism. This is the little video I want to show you.
His name's James. James. Hey. No. Jamie. Hey, hey, hey.
So James has James is right now indulging in something called as SIB, self-injurious behavior. He's hitting his own head. That's a way of communication. Like I'm saying again, behavior is nothing but communication. Maybe he wants attention or he's hurt, and that's what I kind of treat as a therapist. Some facts about autism. Autism has no cure. 4 times more common in boys than girls. I want to talk a bit about the diagnosis as well. So the first instance a parent can see in a child who has autism, and you are born with autism, it is a developmental disability, is you may realize that the child is unable to hear you or is not responding to you. Maybe responded before, but now has stopped responding to you. The first instinct of a parent is they'll take the child to an ENT specialist. And that's where a child's ear is checked and the doctor will say, yes, he's fine to go, he's good to go. But he stopped talking and what happened? And then a parent will go to a speech pathologist to wonder what's happening. Is it the speech? And then it's the pediatrician who is trained to diagnose a person who has autism using the DSM-5 criteria, which is the current one. And that's how usually a diagnosis is being done. And a child can be diagnosed anywhere between few months to 4-5-year-old or even more. As I told you, in stage 1, you may not really know whether a child has autism or no. In Canada, I have few clients whose diagnosis have been done at the age of 20 and 30 as well. This is intensive behavioral intervention. As children, imitation, actions, copying our parents, modeling, sharing comes pretty much naturally to us, but may not come that naturally to a child who has autism. So teaching them touch nose, do this is what we do in intensive behavioral intervention. The main goal is they can get into the mainstream. With intensive behavioral intervention, in Canada, we train adults so that they can work in maybe grocery stores. We teach them matching, where they learn to match one fruit to another. And it's very possible that they get jobs and they do really well as that. So let's go and see this video.
You're okay, buddy? All right, mister, what would you like to work for?
Big piece of cookie.
Big piece of cookie, okay.
I'm sorry, cookies is the reinforcement, the therapy.
You're okay, buddy? Oh, I love that you just said I. That was awesome. Nice job, pal. All right, hey, can you show me ready?
Ready.
Much better. And what do you use to talk to people?
And a phone.
A phone, that's right. Hey, what do you do with pants?
You wear 'em.
You sure do. And oh, let's look at this picture. How's he feeling?
Happy.
Yeah, who's feeling happy? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who's feeling happy? Look at the picture. Who's feeling happy?
He's feeling happy.
Oh, I love it. You said he. That was awesome because a boy, is that?
He.
You got it, superstar. Look at you answering so fast. Hey, Alex, a truck is something you?
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's how a child is learning. The therapist is reinforcing. The therapist is reinforcing the child immediately by saying, wow, good job, you got it. What have we learned today? Behavior is communication. Behavior can be changed from undesirable behavior to desirable, socially accepted behavior. And I repeat, the 4 major functions of behavior are attention, Your child is going to behave in an undesirable manner if he wants attention, if he wants a tangible item like your iPad. Mostly these days it's iPad as far as I see, but any other toy. Sensory, pain, and escape. If they want to escape a task, or at this moment they want to escape being at home. I want to end by saying give your children a lot of time and a lot of love because they really deserve it. Thank you so much, and I hope you all stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Nivedita. The session is now open for questions from the participants. So we'll take up the first question. The first question is, how do you deal with flapping of hands in children with autism? And does medication really help for autism spectrum disorder?
So there are certain medications, they're usually to calm them down. But what we usually do with flapping of the hand is we kind of train them to do something with it. For most, as this is a bit of an undesirable behavior that a parent would not want to see, we ignore it. The second the child stops, you have to reinforce the child immediately. What the child learn is when I stop moving my hand or when I stop twirling, I get reinforced. And the child would really want to get reinforced. So I would suggest to the parents that you first find out, like I told you before, with forced choice reinforcement, what the child really, really likes, and then go ahead with it. Thank you so much for your question.
Nivedita will take up the second question.
Yes,
The
sure.
second question says that which one works better for a child? Is it multiple choice reinforcement or forced choice reinforcement?
Forced choice reinforcement works better. The only reason being is because they're children at the end, they're going to keep changing things. Their color change, their favorite color changes from red to black to purple so fast. So it's better that you do a forced reinforcement compared to a multiple choice. Thank you again for your question.
Nivedita, the next question is, how do you deal with children who are very hyper and aggressive?
As I told you before, even a child will be hyper. When a child is hyper, I prefer when the parent takes more of an exercise routine. Let's have a routine where there's more running around, making it a game. So the fact that they have to, when a child moves from one place to another, the fact that he wants to get his energy out has been put to place. And sorry, what was the other thing? Hyper and?
Aggression.
Aggression. Aggression again is an undesirable behavior. That is again because of these four things. Either the child wants attention, either the child is escaping from a task, the child, the four functions of behavior, attention, tangible items, escape, and sensory are the only reasons why a child will be aggressive. So we need to find out, you need to observe your child and find out that what makes him not aggressive. So when a child is aggressive, he's screaming, bah! When you give him the phone, is he quiet? If he's quiet when you give him the phone, it means that he's aggressive so that he gets his toy. And then we have to replace that behavior like I spoke before. I hope that has helped. And thank you again for your question.
Thank you, Nivedita. We'll take up the last question for this session. And the question is, do children with ASD also develop ADHD or learning disabilities?
It is quite possible that there's a dual diagnosis that happens. It is very much possible. If that is your question, yes, it is very much possible. There are children who have autism and ADHD, autism and a learning disability, or only autism as well. That's why we call it autism spectrum disorder instead of autism disorder. We call it a spectrum because it can come in many ways, in many shades. One child can talk very well and have autism. Another child can't speak and needs, again, sign language. Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. So it's a spectrum at the end.
Thank you, Nivedita, for patiently answering all the questions. Over to you, Terim.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nivedita ma'am, for sharing the information and giving us insight on the topic autism and behavioral intervention. I am sure our audience, both from psychology and non-psychology background, have benefited from this session. I would now like to hand it over to Steffi. Thank you.
Thank you, Tehreem. A very good morning to one and all present here. I, Steffi Jadhav, would like to introduce our second speaker for today, Dr. Corina D. Rantoputra. Ma'am is going to address us on the topic Responsible Leadership During Pandemic. Ma'am is a senior lecturer at University of Indonesia, Faculty of Psychology. Ma'am's skills and expertise includes in leadership, organizational behavior, organizational psychology, and human resource development. Ma'am has an experience in teaching field since 2011 and till date. Her teaching interests include psychology in strategic human resource management, current issues in knowledge management, academic writing, and organizational behavior. Ma'am's research interests are in the areas of responsible and empowering leadership, productive, proactive, and accountable employees, performance management, and organizational culture. Ma'am also has a professional membership in International Leadership Association and Asian Academy of Human Resource Management. Many researches of Ma'am have been published on international level. To her credit, she has over 20 referred journal research papers and research articles. We at Symbiosis College feel privileged to have you with us today. We welcome you, ma'am.
So thank you. Thank you for the very nice introduction. This is a very honoring invitation for me. I like to express my gratitude to the Symbiosis College, to the Dean, and to Miss Alpana, who's been a friend of mine. We met in an international conference a few years ago, and the communication has nurtured and now fruitful in terms of this conference. My topic today is about leadership, responsible leadership during the pandemic. As you see that the previous topic is about autism or parenting. So that is at the individual level. My topic now is more at the organizational level. Can I share my screen with everyone? Hang on a sec. Oops. Can you see my screen? Not this one. Hang on a sec. Please bear with me for a second. Wait for me a minute. Yes, just a little more time. Yeah, can you see my screen now? I don't hear any voice.
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet?
Yes.
Oh, very sorry. Okay, let me do one other thing. It was done very well previously, but not now. I don't know why, but let's try again. It's always good to try. So I come from Indonesia, Universitas Indonesia. That is the university that brings the name of Indonesian Indonesia as a country. In screen. Can you see my screen now? Not yet?
Still not yet, yeah.
Oh, very sorry, everyone. Thank you for the patience. Can you see my screen now? It's coming?
Yeah, now it's already there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. This is.
Please do full screen.
Yeah, I'll do that. Hang on a sec.
Makanya aku sebenarnya mau mulai dari sini, Bang.
Wait for me 1 second.
Iya, ini mau dimulai tadi saya coba.
Okay, so this is the picture of my university. I would be very happy if you can come and visit me sometime after the COVID. But we have to deal with the COVID now, and we all know that this crisis has pressuring us so much. Our situation right now is we have lost the normalcy. We have to work from home, and work from home is not flexi time. Work from home is we are being pushed to work in a place where perhaps not ideal for our work. Um, in the office, we have good internet, but at home, not every home has good internet. In the office, we have a place to work. At home, perhaps for us mothers, we have children run around, or for a father, perhaps they also have responsibility at home, and it's hard to focus when you work at home. We also know that there is an economic downturn. Many people have difficulties in getting the full amount of salary. I don't know in India, but in Indonesia, some companies, they have to cut the salary, perhaps 50%, perhaps 25%. And this is pressuring all the people. Many people are suffering because of this. And also, this pandemic also bring us the loss of social interaction. We are advised not to go out more than 5 people. We have to just meet like this in a with the internet, but not meeting people. We cannot hug people, just what we used to do. We feel so distanced with many people, with everyone, and that is a big loss. But more than that, we feel uncertainties. What will happen in the future? How long this pandemic will be? Berinato, in his article in Harvard Business Review, said that our sadness now is not only we feel what we are feeling now, but we feeling what will happen in a few years from now. We are feeling the anticipatory grief. So we are sad not only because we hear bad news, not only because our salary is cut, not only because we cannot meet people, but also because we are not sure what will happen in the future, the anticipatory grief. And unfortunately, we human being is not a good predictor of how we would feel in the future. So Daniel Kahneman, you know that Daniel Kahneman is a Nobel Prize winner. Daniel Kahneman said that nothing is as good or as bad when you are thinking about it. Meaning, when we are thinking about the future, we many times exaggerate the sadness and exaggerate the happiness. And that making us not a good predictor of our emotion in the future. You can see the research from Face and Ansel in 2015 about Australian Idol. This research monitor Australian Idol from when they are the candidate and ask them how would they feel if they win or if they lose. And many said that they will they really want to win this idol, or it would hurt them so much if they lost. But when that time comes, when they are eliminated or when they win, they feel that happiness and sadness, but not to the extent that it is so much. So we many times are not a good predictor of our feeling in the future. So our worry, anxiety, frustration right now is most likely more than what we actually need to feel. Oops, Kai. So this feeling also impact in organization. In what way? It impact the psychological contract between people. So psychological contract is the unwritten expectation between two parties. So for example, unwritten expectation between parents and children. They have this expectation. Parents have to do what? For example, nurture their children. Children have to obey their parents, have to listen to them, for example. In organization, people also have psychological contract between employer and employees. Psychological contract is not written. It's not like the legal contract. It is unwritten, but it is pervasive. It influences the way we expect other people to behave and the way we ourselves want to behave. And currently, because of the COVID-19, there is a disruption on the psychological contract between employees and employers. Employees now have to work at home. The job itself has changes. Many people said that usually I know when to work, that is 8 to 4. But now job comes at 10 at night, or the customer wants me to answer the question at 8 at night. So the job itself changes and the salary perhaps is reduced. The social interaction is gone. But people work in office not only because they are asking for salary, but they also enjoy the social interaction. And sadly, that is what's missing now. And people lost this excitement to work. They lost this energy to give their best. That is from the employees' perspective. They feel that they can't do their best. From the employer's perspective, they feel that the employees are not that accountable. They cannot see when the employees are working because employees working from home. Or they feel that the employees is lacking in their engagement. It's not as motivated as before and the performance has going down. So there, between the employees and employers, they feel that there is this breach of contract. They feel violated, not because the other parties, but because of the COVID. But who are they going to blame? They cannot blame the COVID. Usually, they blame each other. And this is what causing a big problem in organization. A lot of conflict. A lot of conflict. So what should the leaders do in this situation? I would argue that we need responsible leadership. I would argue 3 things related to responsible leadership. First is responsible leaders need to renegotiate the psychological contract. Responsible leaders need to make it explicit what they expect from the employees and need to listen what the expectation of employees. So first of all, what is more important is the leaders should be very clear about the job, the target, and when it should be done. We have to agree when is the working hours. Work from home doesn't mean that we can work 24 hours. Work from home is we work at a certain hours. And what is the expectation of the performance? Responsible leaders need to renegotiate this with employees. And by renegotiating, I mean is responsible leaders need to listen, to be compassionate, to understand the employee situation and perspective. Meaning, they have to asking the employees, is your situation back home okay for you to work? How is your internet at home? If you have to travel from your home to the office, how safe to travel, to use public transport? If you use public transport, what can the leaders do? So compassionate leaders need to understand the employee situation and renegotiate. In your situation where you have where you have to work from home. And in Indonesia, children also study at home, and mother and father have to teach their children while juggling with the work. How can the leaders understand that? So the leaders, the weapon of leaders, I would say, is communications. Leaders really need to have have to master the art of listening. Not only hearing what the employees are saying, but listen, empathize with them, understand where they are coming from. If they are not talking, because in high power distance country like India or Indonesia, many times employees, when they are asked, they say everything is okay. So the leaders have to master the art of asking questions. You don't ask question, how are you? Employees will say, I'm good. But you ask question, how is your juggling your work and teaching your children at home? You have to ask, how is your computer at home? Is it fit to do your work or not? Art of asking question will be helpful. Most of all, leaders should not torpedo trust, should not be mean to belittle them or accuse them. So when performance going down, our first reaction should not be, it must be because you are lazy. I know that you are not work. It can't be like that. You should not torpedo trust. Perhaps the problem is with the access, the internet access. Perhaps the problem is because the employees need to look after their parents, older parents who are sick. Or perhaps they just heard the news that their best friend has just died because of COVID-19. So do not belittle or accuse your employees, but you need to open up communication. You need to be able to listen, to ask questions and really listen. As well, you have to acknowledge good behaviors because we know reinforcement will shape behaviors. I want to share here one of my research about an accountability. One of the problem in COVID-19 time is employers or leaders feel that the employees are not accountable. They cannot see whether the employees are doing their job or not. So my research here that is published in Journal of Management Development show that there are two big aspects that influence employees' accountability. One, at the individual level, is how the employees feel. And we can see now there will be a lot of negative effect because of the situation, because of the negative news that we get almost every day. So with this negativity, it will reduce employees' accountability. My research showed that. But accountability can be improved if the organization do at least two things. One is showing support, perceive organizational support. So asking them what can the organization do better. Understanding that they have perhaps 4 children in the small house and their children is running around when they work. Or understanding their health problem, the employee's health problem. Perceived organizational support. A good leader will do this, will show more support. And second is the hierarchy. My research shows that individual employees will show more accountability if there is less hierarchy. In a big hierarchy, people tend to hide in the job because it is not seen. They are not seen. But in a less hierarchy, we can expect people to be more accountable. So the question now is, how can leader in this era of COVID-19 put more or accountability, whether the employees will work or not, right? So we need to boost accountability. Second, so first, responsible leadership should renegotiate psychological contract. And second, responsible leadership should build hope and strengthen solidarity. Because of these uncertainties that like covering us, is like we are swimming in an ocean of uncertainties. The role of a leader is to assist employees to understand the impact of COVID-19 on their organization. So leaders, this is our job, to help employees make sense of what is going on. How to do that? Again, communication. Leaders need to deliver information in an honest and a positive light. For example, many organization is going down, their performance is going down. So they should tell the employees as it is, that our, for example, our company is, our revenue is going 60, going down, reducing 60%. They not just stop there. They have to put a plan. But compared to our competitors, we are much better. Our competitors are going down 80%, for example. Or we can say that we don't have enough liquid for everyone to get their salary as they are. So there will be a reduce in salary. However, the top managers will be reduced more than the lower level employees. By so doing, the leaders is positing a positive light, being honest. This is the situation, but put a positive light, bring hope that we can do better. We see these uncertainties, but we are going to deal with this uncertainty together. Build solidarity. Good leaders in this time use the pronoun we, not only I want this, I want that, you have to do that, but we. That is the pronoun. We need to do this together. Good leaders, as they are trying to build hope and strengthen solidarity, need to understand that they need to nurture engagement. Employees need to feel that they are still part of the organization, even though perhaps they work from home. So we do a lot of like this MS Team meeting, Zoom meeting in organization. But I want to highlight not only meeting with a team. What good leaders need to do is meeting one-on-one, especially with their direct reports. That is people who report to them. I would suggest that every leader need to build a one-on-one communication with two people, two levels beyond them. Leaders need to understand the difficulties of these employees, the challenges, their children, their health, and build one-on-one communication. Every leaders need to allocate a time to contact one-on-one and show the employees that they are meaningful, that the leaders support them, trying to understand them. Besides that, one-on-one, I would also suggest that people, organization, put time, even not only to talk about work, but time to talk about happy things. Just like when we are in the office, sometimes in the lunchtime, we talk, we laugh, we joke, or sometimes in the morning, we do gym together. During this time, leaders should really do hangout time and allocate time to have just chat, just chit chat with employees and laughing or playing our games, internet games. You can play hangman, you can play Dare or Truth. You can play many things online. Even you can do a yoga together. So during this time, leaders need to build hope and strengthen solidarity, making people feel that they are meaningful not only because of their work, but because they are a person that needs laughter, a person that needs attention. So that I hope that we can do what the director of World Health Organization said, that let hope be the antidote to fear, to anxiety, to helplessness, and let solidarity be the antidote to blame. So we are not blaming each other, but we as an organization moving forward together. I want to show you these two people. One is Doug McMillon. Doug McMillon is the CEO of Walmart. I want to read you his Twitter. At the 28th of March, he said this: I have always seen your spark, your dedication, and humanity. But today, as you are being challenged more than ever, I see heroes, not just to me, but to so many. You put others before yourself, making sure that the wheels keep turning. You work for the greater good, and you keep the flame of hope burning. You have proven that there is no task that can't be done. How do you feel if your leaders say this to you? Putting hope, acknowledging your great contribution to the organization. You will have that positivity. Doug McMillon called his employees as associates, or in Indonesia, many leaders call their employees as friends, fellows. So good leaders, as they bring up hope and build solidarity, they respect their employees. Another example, Jacinta Ardern. I think we all know who Jacinta Ardern is, yeah? The Prime Minister of New Zealand. This is what she said at the 23rd of March, her tweet. I want to leave this message with one final thing. Be kind. I know people will want to act as enforcers. At that time, there is a rule of physical distancing, social distancing. And some people doing it, stay at home, but others just keep going in the market, in the mall. And these people who are obeying the rules tend to be angry to those who do not follow the rules. But Jacinta Ardern said, be kind. I know people will want to act as enforcers, and I understand that. People are afraid and anxious. We will play that role for you. What we need from you is support one another. Call to check in on your neighbor. Start a phone tree with your street. Plan how you will keep in touch with one another. We will get through this together, but only if we stick together. Can you feel it? It's about solidarity. It's about we. It is about being kind. Good leader bring up that positivity. Good leader encourage people to be kind, to bring hope. This is my research about kindness. My research that is published in Asian Journal of Business and Accounting. It really shows from this research that kindness, well-meaning, compassion can influence leader effectiveness. Through what? Through leader-member exchange, through the quality of relationship between leaders and employees. So leaders, if you want to be perceived effective, if you want your organization to perform well during this pandemic, it is your time to express your benevolency values and build leader-member exchange, build that feeling of togetherness, that solidarity, That is the role of a responsible leader. Second role. Third role is responsible leaders use this crisis as a turning point. Can I ask you, what is the biggest challenge for organizational change? The biggest challenge is comfort, status quo. We all know that we have digital technology to do webinar, but we did not do that before COVID-19. It is not a CEO or a government officers that have this brilliant idea about webinar. It is the COVID-19 that pushing us. So what the COVID-19 is taking away the comfort from us. So before I did not do that. So the comfort is taken away from us. But we have to understand it also provides organization with the possibility to change and develop themselves. It depends on the leaders whether want to see this as a turning point or whether you want just to pity yourself and get drawn by your emotion and get more and deeper into problem. If we want to see the meaning of crisis, crisis means turning point. So leaders, responsible leaders, need to see this crisis as a turning point to be better. How? Leaders need to see beyond what is happening now and construct organizational identity, a vision of what we want to be in the future. This is the time. Can I show you this spiral here? It is depend on the leader. If the leader doesn't build hope, then the employees will go feeling bored, staying at home, feeling more anxious, then perhaps frustrated, disappointed, a lot of conflict among employees because of miscommunication. It is not easy to communicate with the digital. And perhaps it will end up with counterproductive work behavior. Or a leader can see this as a time to bring positivity, to help the employees to see the situation and able to accept the situation, to help the employees to make sense. What is going on now? How should we sacrifice for some time, but doing it together and bring many innovation, engage in the organizations, work together, synergy, and put the employees more empowered, and then which will end up to productive behavior. So this is the time for responsible leaders to ask questions, whether they want to be quiet or they want to see beyond of what is happening now. These three articles, Ansel, Strauss, and Levin, can help us to know how to do this. That is with a clear picture of what you want to be in the future. Clear picture for the organization and for each organizational unit will help that unit to survive and to use this crisis as a turning point to identify, is there any business process that is not usable or that is actually a hindrance for us? This is the time. This is also time to us identify our strengths that we did not know before. Perhaps like now, like this. I did not know that I could teach online learning. So this is the time. And also my publication here in Group and Organization Management is talking how knowing thyself will help every leaders in organization to move synergically and feeling empowered to change this crisis into a better future. So this is my reference. And thank you everyone for listening. I really hope that you can join me in Universitas Indonesia. I don't know, sometimes in the future, but I hope this vision will be with you and you can feel the interaction between Indonesia and India. And we all can develop our responsible leadership and change this crisis into a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Corina ma'am. We can now take up questions from the participants. We have a question which is asking, could you please talk about some of the challenges that are faced specifically by teachers or professors in this situation and some of the ways to overcome it?
Thank you for your very important questions. Yes, we are teachers and professors. We are facing so many problems. I don't know whether I need to answer this comprehensively because after me, there will be a professor. Professor Yus will talk about this topic. So I would suggest Professor Yus to answer this, but I just answer a little bit. This is the time for us, teachers and professors, to really looking after our students. Many of our students are having problems. Many of our students are struggling in their study. So I would suggest us to really build hope. Of course, that is not easy for us because we also are in a place of uncertainty. But like I said before, if we are really teachers, we are also leaders. And that put us in a big responsible box, what we need to do. I would not answer this in extent because I know that Professor Yus will answer this. Thank you.
Thank you, Corina ma'am. We have another question coming up. What would you say to someone who is overworking oneself to meet deadlines in the whole COVID-19 situation and is not able to spend as much time with family? Could you give some suggestions to overcome this?
Yeah, thank you very much. And that happens a lot. Why people tend to overwork? Because the work coming without respecting our work hours. The work coming without asking us whether we can do it or not. So I would suggest for everyone to really build communication with your leaders. You need to renegotiate the contract. You need to make things clear. What is the expectation? And you have to make clear what is your situation. You need to understand that in this situation, you need to, how do I say this? A marathon runner. This is not a sprint competition. This is a marathon. You need to survive. You need to keep healthy for a long term. So you need to balance your life. You need to do more than just working. But sometimes it's hard if your leaders, your boss, giving you more job. So what you have to do is renegotiate the psychological contract. Express it assertively, what you can do and what you can't do. And try to have a middle ground solution. I would suggest that you also, for everyone who is in that situation, try to see from a long-term perspective. Are you going to improve yourself as a human being if you keep working like that? Or are you going to destroy your family? And by that, destroying yourself? Because in many parts of the world, family is the unit of our being, our meaning. So I am not suggesting that you just pursue your own individual target, but you think what is beneficial for your whole family. That is how you survive for a long term. This battle is a long-term battle, perhaps 3 years, perhaps 2 years, I don't know. But you need strength to keep you move and keep going for a long term. That's why you need your family. That's why you need to renegotiate psychological contract. Thank you very much for that important question.
Thank you, Corina ma'am, for patiently answering all the questions. Over to you, Tehreem.
Thank you, ma'am. I may like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Karina for giving us an excellent coverage on the impact of COVID-19 on organizations and how to become a responsible leader, especially during pandemic. Thank you so much, ma'am, for telling us the importance of being kind and accepting things during these times. It was a very knowledgeable and a relevant session. Thank you for your precious time. Good morning. Our last speaker for today's webinar is Dr. Yus Nugreh. Sir has a PhD in Organizational Behavior Studies. Sir is also a Vice Dean at Faculty of Psychology, Padajaran, Bandung. Sir will be talking to us on the topic Adapting with Academic Challenges During the Pandemic. Sir was also the head of Center of Industrial and Organization Empowerment and for the current year as head of Center of Psychological Research and Innovation. Sir had been a part of Indonesian Association of Psychology, HIMPSU, Indonesia at West Java area. He is an active member of the Association of IO Psychology, the Student Association of Population Studies, Association of Asian Social Psychology, International Union of Psychology, International Association of Applied Psychology. Dr. Hughes has worked as a freelancer, as a trainer, psychological and a speaker at various institutions. We, on behalf of the Department of Psychology, Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce, feel grateful to have you with us. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon from Bandung, Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel great to be here. Such an honor to share my experience in this honorable webinar. Thank you so much goes to Professor Hriskises Samon, Professor Alpana Fadia, also to the speaker that prior to me, Professor Sasmed, Professor Verina, Professor Mira Sankar, and Miss Nivedita Dipti, and Professor Karina just mentioned about the leadership, and also for Microsoft team who organized very well this webinar, and also all the faculty members of the Symbiosis College, and also their friends and all participants. I will start this introduction, my experience conducting the learning processing in my faculty, especially Faculty of Psychology in Universitas Padjadjaran, Bandung. I'm in the last presenter and the last day, and my topic is quite different, with the other speakers who is talking about mental health and well-being. And I try to share about my experience, and especially in the Universitas Padjadjaran. So let me start with this introduction of my university, please. So my title is Adapting the Academic Challenge During Pandemic. So especially in the Universitas Padjadjaran and generally in Indonesia. Next, please. This is I'll introduce my university or campus in Bandung, and the second one next. Yes, please. This is the Universitas Padjadjaran in the new campus. This is the logo of Universitas Padjadjaran, and the next one is next, please. Yeah, this is the new campus in Sumedang, and we moved there in 1997. Next, please. This is the main building, the rectorate. Then, please. And this is my faculty, Facultas Psychology. And then next one. In faculty, since the pandemic COVID-19, we utilized the health procedure during this pandemic The first one is you should using masker, always washing hands around 20 or 30 seconds, and keep social distancing. Next, please. Okay, this is the information of COVID-19. You can find around the premises of our university. Second one, next. This is we used to use the fingerprint, but in this moment we have to hand sanitizer instead. So we have no fingerprint. Next, please. Okay, this is also the one of the procedure here. Use masker and then washing hands. So you can find everywhere the just a wash basin here, and then you can wash hand. Next, please. This is the instead of using the fingerprint, you should feel the presence of employee by a sign on the letter here, the paper. Another one, yeah. Also, this is important when you are going into the building. You should try to check the temperature of your body, and then if you are 37 down, under 37, so you are admitted to go to the premises. Thank you. Next. Okay, my structure of the talk is introduction. I already talked about the campus and then how the academic rules during the pandemic. It is ruled by the government, go to the higher education ministry, and then go to the rector. So the next one, probably for the challenge for student and lecturer, that I already got the questions about that. So, okay. So the first one, I'd like to inform you about the academic rules during the pandemic. The first one is from the President of Indonesia since March 2nd, when the first case of the COVID-19 come up. So the President persuaded all the Indonesians to study, learn, work, and religious practices from home. This is for our President. And the second one, from the Ministry of Education and Culture, who are responsible for the education process learning, number 4, 2020, implementing of educational operation during pandemic, that all school, colleges, and universities to study or learning process from home. We call it work from home or learning from home. Also, another one from the Directorate of Higher Education, who are responsible for the higher education, just like our university. So they are set up about the e-learning and online resource with the platform free accessible, and with the collaboration with Google and MCCS, Massive Open Online Course. And the second one is set up the new one from our new ministry, the Merdeka Belajar, mean freedom to learn. So learning from home. Creatively, with proper this one, and try to be creative working from home. Next, please. And of course, from the high level of the Directorate of the Higher Education and down to the our rector, rule from our rectors is the setup of some policies here. The first one is extending one semester for student doing paper for S1, for the master program, also for this doctoral with the permission of them. This meaning is if the student for the S1 or the master or the doctoral who are disturbed by this COVID pandemic, so they have two chance to permission by Dean to postpone to the extend for one semester. The second one from the Rectorate of Universitas Pajajaran is reduce the tuition fee. This is different for the class, different class, but there is a 50% law from for class of 2016. And the rector also set up the learning process for the next semester, even for the next semester, by teleconference. This means they will, for the next 4 or 5 months, we still learning from home or working from home, for the especially for the lecturer. But for the some officer, they should come to the campus, not every day, but they will probably a week, 2 times a week, and then we'll changeable for the officer. Also, there's a special research grant to research related to the COVID-19. So there are some grant, some money to enhance the research on the COVID, the special only. According to this rectorate, since March 18 up to June 14, all the premises of the campus was locked down. But from the June 14 here, there's some employee, let's say for the security, also for the what we call it, this cleaning service, they're working every day, but only 1, 2, or 3% only. Okay, next please. Okay, I will, for the next one is I'd like to inform you about the research concerning about the pandemic from the book it just published from the higher education, the Ministry of Higher Education. This one I quote about one of the important thing from Professor Nizam. He's from the Director of Higher Education about research of digital transformation during pandemic in Indonesia. This is quite widespread around Indonesia because the respondent around 237,000 students, and about 67% of women and 27% of men. And they took from the student class of 2016 up to class of 2019. 63% almost of the student of the respondent left the campus. So there's only 36.6%. They still stay at the city nearby to the campus, so it's still there. This digital transformation, as we know, that will disrupt all lives aspect toward the new normal or the new life or the new habit, even in the higher education. The former speakers, they are talking about in the organization, about the leadership, about the how to mix life balance with the working, but here it also disrupted in the higher education. The main problems of that is the networking infrastructure and the quality of the connection. This is the main problem that come up from the this research. And then but as all the speakers agreed that there is a blessing in this, guys. The blessing of this pandemic is that the higher education due to be without border, say that there is no border anymore, so we can lecture from home, from everywhere. Also this is also this blessing also compatible with the new freedom to learn, or we just launched by the new minister. For the next please. Yeah, this is the result. I'm so sorry. The result is still in Indonesian, so I would translate into English. The first one is about device and connection. The results show that almost 80 or 69% they use handphone. And the second one is by the, I couldn't see this one. Okay, so almost handphone, right? And how about the connection about the internet? Handphone is the good one, and they used to, the second one is Wi-Fi. See where we are see about the data. So they used to handphone because the quality of internet is good. It's better than they use Wi-Fi. Next, please. Okay, this is about the learning method. About 40% of this respondent say that they use mixed method. I mean that about synchronous and synchronous. So they blended around 40%, and then said that synchronous is only 34% and synchronous about 20. This I will tell you later on about the method, how this synchronous and occurs asynchronous. And how about the application they use? Almost 38% they use Google Class. So Google Class is the well-known in our university to launch the learning process. And the second one is around 33% about Zoom. They use Zoom, and the other use about 24%. So the Google is very well known. Next, please. And how about the readiness of this respondent? Almost 45% they ready to follow the learning process by online, and only 26.8% they said not ready with this online. And the second one about the understanding how the process of learning, do they understood about this person? About 33.5%, okay, this is good enough. And only 30% or 31%, okay, good. And only 5.6%, okay, online, understandable, and very good understood. And how about the quality of the learning? Because this is learning from home, or also the lecturers working from home as well, and the student learning from their homes as well. So quality of the learning, they said almost 46% good. The quality of learning, okay, it's good. And only 13.8% they said very good. So this quality of the learning by online, just I should say so good on the record. Next, please. And how about the material quality? This is probably the one of the questions that comes up. How about the material quality? Only 10% or about 11% they said very good. And most half of the respondents say the quality of material is good, and 27.6% also good. So material quality that accept or by the respondent quite good. And how about the internet facility? Almost 1/3 of the respondents said that it's very bad, really very bad. This is connected to the quality of the first one, when we said that online facility is not good enough for the quality of the line. They said almost unstable, something like. And then only 21% very unstable, but only 17.5 they said good enough. So mostly unstable and 1/3 very bad. Next, please. And when they ask about the what is the advantages and disadvantages of the online learning, they said for the advantages, almost half, more than half of the respondents said this is new experience, new experience. Oh, probably this is like something fun, probably something new. So they like to join that. And the second one, they said that almost 52%. Okay, so with this online, the advantage for me, for them is no need to come to campus. And almost 40%, they said, okay, online learning process is more flexible and more relaxed. Probably they can study from home without taking bath, or they just sit uh, in the bedroom, something. So this is new experience. This is something the more interesting for me. Okay, and how about disadvantages of online? Almost 85% say that unstable network. This is they are correlated to the first question, the second, and now this the third. So it is not good enough about the disadvantages from learning from home. And almost 60%, they said the student said that it is overwhelming. This workload is too much, something. I think agree, because for the lecturer probably, okay, we cannot see each other. Okay, just do this and find this on the journal of this, something. So the student feel that this is the workload overwhelming for them. Only, and then 21%, they said that mostly homework is changed into online. So let's say that is the evaluation of the process, learning process, because there are three probably work or homework, something like that, and also there's a mid semester, and then the final, or the last exam. I mean, there are three, and then also special tasks. So in this pandemic, COVID like this, all these tasks through online. So this is probably for the students, for the respondent, said that is overwhelming, almost 60%. Next, please. Thank you. Okay. So the conclusion of this research that about the digital transformation, they said that by online learning, the learning process running quite good, not excellent, not good enough, but okay, good. But almost 90% of the student of the respondent prefer learning with face-to-face. That's much more better than online. I guess this is I'm agree with the prior speaker that even in this organization, the working from home, there's so many not problem, but so many tasks to do, even though with children, also his wife, or also her husband. Okay, next please is about the challenge for the student, for the lecturer, that as this already come up with the questions. There are, I show you, this is 5 research about the student, what challenge about student as lecturers. One from Angdiri, this is from India, that he now study in BINUS in Jakarta. So this is the research is the workload of online classes is larger than online. So this is related to the last result, that overwhelming, probably this one. Directly and permanently change education in the future, yes. And then must be able to adapt to working and studying online for any kind of reason and study. Probably this is the related also to the what kind of method they prefer to choose the mixed method, because also instead of the studying, also there's also working, and also they have so many tasks from the other lectures. The second one is Brian Merkers. This is about pandemic. We know that also we are aware about the feeling aimless, confused about the future of this study, future of their probably for their who are working at the organization, about his or their position, and also even helpless. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to face this problem. And Maker said that education is not simply an amalgam of worksheet and essays, but the community within our school. The often thankless work and the love of your children, teachers, coaches, janitors, secretaries, and principal have for each of them. So we are all here, indeed suffering also, yes, but perhaps more important, we are all in this together. This is the important thing that Professor Corina also said, that we are aware that we are in here together. We something like. Next, please. Okay, the third one is from the Stinson. He said that the college student are facing a brief school closure. So he mentioned about 4 keys to come up from the student is they really miss being able to physically hug friends or share space. As said from Professor Corina, I said they don't have any time to hug physically or share the space, even though probably they are social distancing. They couldn't hug each other. The second one is students are learning responsibility without structure at this time. So some student, many students actually, they don't know what to do with all the time I have on my hands. So just like confused, aimless, or they don't know how to do this. The third one, I mean, the technology is indispensable, but not a replacement for what means. Especially for the Z generation student, these turn to the variety of technology resource in attempt to stay connected with friends. So they also use Zoom, YouTube, Snapchat on IG. So in this pandemic, the one side is they have to use online, they have to use line, but the other side also the Gen Y or Gen Z for the also in the time of the his time. I mean, he is a nature of digital nature. And the fourth one, students are gaining more expansive understanding of the college reality. Say that some form of social distancing will become a norm. Probably the prior time, even they don't know who is the next building, who are the next building, who are the next neighbor. But with this pandemic, now is more expansive understanding of the college reality. Next, please. Thank you. The last one is from the Anna North. The shift to online learning could worsen educational inequality. This is real, and this is quite different. As school goes digital, for those who are from the low-income student are being left behind. So as you mentioned, probably from the television, student from the urban, from the remote control, they are looking for the signal, yeah, from the because all the tasks, all the learning delivered by the online, so they have to looking for good or best signal. So Miss North, like I said that there is a digital divide. It's only the beginning, because why digital divide? There are some from urban students. The other one is from the city student. From the urban, instead from lacking of computer, they don't have any computer. They just have the handphone with the low space. Also, a low income student, and also disadvantage in online learning. The other one is from the city. They used to have smartphone, and then also the signal also is excellent, even excellent. Also, they can do many things in the same time. Let's say that while they are working about from the lecture from the teachers, they also can meet their peers, also can eat I mean coffees with all the students in the same place. Thank you. Next floor, please. Yeah, this from the McCarthy. This is probably related to the how to manage yourself in this pandemic COVID. He's mentioned about the prioritizing self-care while work from home. So here, teachers to teach from home while school are closed. So the most important thing for both sides, this is how physical, mental, and social care should be aware about this and should be taking care of this one. And do what works best for you and what you know you will be able to do regularly. So he mentioned about three aspects of important thing. It is a physical care. So let's say this is the take a sleep, let's say 7 up to 8 hours a night. As Professor Corina also say, work from home, it doesn't mean there is no working hours, but when we are sitting in the room with this laptop like this, so many tasks from other lecturers, from others teachers to do at the same time. So that's why from this research, from the higher education research, they are overwhelming, their workload is overload, something like that. So this is the, why don't you tending to the basic needs? It's important managing stress and replenishing the energy reserve needed for tackling tasks. Let's say value of educated sleep, also probably taking exercise, just mentioned before, just walking around the complex, or take yoga, or bicycling, something like that. The second one is about the social care. Stay connected with others, especially for these students who are now in this campus. They are in the Gen Y or Gen Z. They're more challenged when they are working from home or learning from home. It is possible to forget to eat and stay connected with friends and family, since the strength of the virtual learning is access to the world. So, okay, it's better for me, give me a strong or give me an excellent signal or give me excellent line than good eat or good food or so many friends come to home. So in this moment. So use the same resources for personal growth. So this is for the millennials. Stay connected with others is much more important than good food, something like that. And the third one is managing our physical, mental, and social well-being. So it could be energy to be present to those we are responsible for and set an example for them how to cope with our tough current situation. So we can also miss Nivedita, that is dancing or yoga or exercise, many, except for the physical, to keep the immune system excellent. Next, please, we come up to the conclusion. Next, please. Thank you. The conclusion is the pandemic is disrupted all aspects of life. So would be changing in behavior and also challenging to adapt them. The second one is need strong rules to anticipate the outbreak. And the third one is academic has also high challenge to adapt new order. So this is about how relationship between student and lecturer, as you may know about the last result of this research, they feel that they overwhelming or overload. How do methods better for this line system and the quality of line? And the fourth one is physical and mental social care should be aware about this, because business as usual is unrealistic right now. So that's why you should shifting your mindset. And the last one, be positive. I just quote from the yesterday seminar, to be mindful, just aware of this situation, and then try to do as you can do it, and then keep productive, keep your immune system excellent. Thank you. Sukriya. Terima kasih. Thank you, ma'am. That's all I presentation in this moment. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir. We will now open the session for questions from the participants.
Thank you.
Sir, as the questions are coming in, maybe you could discuss a little bit about the challenges faced by teachers and professors in today's times.
Okay. Yes, thank you for this. This is the, I guess this is the core questions about the adapting with the academic challenge. Yes, the challenge for the teacher is there are two or three. One, the first one is how to build the material easy to accept by the student. The second one is how to deliver this the material, especially for those who are lecturing about math or statistic or she said, so you need to thinking more rather than social sciences. You could read by yourself. The third one is this is the all the problems in all this research or in this country probably, how this material sent to the student or sent to the school with this good Excel or good or excellent line. So there are three challenge for the lecturer, and then how to I mean the material that we think that this is a little bit hard, and you should deliver easy, accepted by the students. I guess that is my answer about this one, ma'am. Hopefully that will answer the questions.
Yes, sir, for patiently answering the question. I would now request Steffi to please take over.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Sir Hughes. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. It was a very important and informative session where you briefed us on the topic adapting with academic challenges during the pandemic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
There are few instructions which I'll be reading out. The link for the e-certificate and feedback form will be sent to you on your registered email ID by today evening 7 p.m. It is mandatory for all the participants to fill the form in order to receive e-certificates. You will receive your e-certificates from our technical team within 8 to 10 days. All the webinar recording for both the days will be put up on our college YouTube channel. The name of our channel is Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce Official. The link for the recorded webinar video will also be shared on your registered email ID. Thank you. The sense of all beautiful art is gratitude. As we come to an end of our today's webinar, I would now like to extend a heartfelt thanks to everyone without whom this session wouldn't have been possible. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a word of thanks to you. Firstly, I would like to thank our principal, Dr. Renegotiate sir, Vice Principal, Dr. Sunaine Parchure ma'am, our HOD, Dr. Alpana Vaidya ma'am, for being a constant source of encouragement and support. A special thanks to all our distinguished speakers for graciously accepting our invitation and sharing their immense knowledge and inputs with us here today. A heartfelt gratitude to all other faculty members including Professor Shivanand, Professor Swarali, Ms. Kashmira Bhere, Ms. Bhakti, admin staff, and our registrar staff, Gandhari ma'am. Technical team, Nitin and Nazir sir, for being there for us throughout to make day 1 and day 2 of a webinar successful one. I would also like to extend my gratitude to our team of graduate and postgraduate students, Aba, Tehreem, Ganesha, Tavishi, and Dia. A huge thanks to all our participants for turning up in great number and being an amazing audience. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Professor Alpana, for this opportunity to join this webinar.
Thank you. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, terima kasih. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay,
you,
everyone.
Karina.
Thank you, Professor Karina
Very
and
nice.
Wait,
Professor
we are live.
Rizkis.